Warning. This post contains spoilers for Daredevil, Born Again Season 2, Episode 8. Following the explosive finale of Daredevil, Born Again Season 2, it's possible that Bullseye could end up becoming a replacement for a major original Avenger. Since his debut back in Netflix's Daredevil Season 3, Benjamin Poindexter, Wilson Bethel, has more than proven himself to be one of the MCU's deadliest assassins. However, the events of Born Again Season May 2 very well see him operating in a more redemptive light than ever before. In the midst of Bullseye's twisted sense of morality, Born Again Season 2 saw Bullseye attempting to make up for the lives he took while manipulated by the Fisks, seeking to achieve one good deed to balance the scales. For Poindexter, this meant killing the Fisks. Although he succeeded in killing Wilson Fisk's wife Vanessa, Bullseye was ultimately saved by Daredevil, who showed Poindexter mercy despite everything he'd done. It was this act that likely led Bullseye to help Daredevil with a true good deed, keeping the governor safe when Mayor Fisk sent his men to take her out before she could move against him. Now, the ending of Daredevil, Born Again Season 2, Episode 8 sees Bullseye receiving a brand new purpose in the MCU, one that could heavily mirror a key Bullseye arc in the original comics. After Daredevil, Born Again Season 2's finale, Bullseye is now working for Mr. Charles and Val. The ending of Daredevil, Born Again Season 2 featured the surprise return of Luke Cage. Reuniting with Jessica Jones and their daughter Danielle in New York, Cage is no longer working covert overseas missions for the CIA's Mr. Charles and his superior, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. According to Cage, Charles found a replacement. Sure enough, the following scene sees Bullseye on a plane with Mr. Charles, clearly implying that Poindexter will now be a government-backed operative in the MCU's future. Keeping that in mind, this new role sounds remarkably similar to the early operations of the MCU's Thunderbolts before they all came together in their 2025 MCU movie, eventually becoming the New Avengers. Excluding Red Guardians and Bucky Barnes' Winter Soldier, each of them worked for Val as enhanced operatives doing various off-the-books Black Ops missions. As such, it certainly seems as though Bullseye is the latest recruit, someone Val and Charles more than likely need, seeing as how several of their past assets just became publicly recognized heroes. Sure, Val was going to kill them all anyway at the beginning of Thunderbolts*, but that's beside the point. With Poindexter originally being an agent of the FBI, it makes sense that he's likely seeking new stability and structure with Val, Charles, and the CIA. Furthermore, Bullseye working for Val also means that there's now an exciting parallel between his arc in the MCU and one of his most famous arcs in the original comics. Valentina finally has her Dark Hawkeye, with Bullseye mirroring the comics. In the comics during and after the events of the First Civil War and Secret Invasion, Bullseye briefly joined the Thunderbolts before eventually becoming part of Norman Osborn's Dark Avengers, operating as that team's version of Hawkeye, purple costume, bow, and all. Despite remaining one of the Marvel Universe's most deadly and psychotic assassins under the mask, there was a brief period of time where he was at least being presented and perceived as a hero by posing as Hawkeye. The MCU's Bullseye has posed as heroes before. He dressed as Daredevil in Netflix's third season. However, it's doubtful that the MCU will adapt the comics so directly. Even so, it stands to reason that Val now has her Dark Hawkeye, just like John Walker was her Dark Captain America and Yelena Belova was her Dark Black Widow. Even the Sentry could be considered a Dark Hulk/Thor hybrid. While she might have her hands tied with the New Avengers and their influence over her show at the end of Thunderbolts*, it's clear that Val is still running various covert operations, presumably both in the service of Val's own interests with OXE Group and the world at large. Whether Bullseye eventually joins a Dark Avengers-inspired team in the MCU or simply becomes one of Val's most dangerous new operatives in the shadows, the pieces are in place following Daredevil, Born Again Season 2. The MCU may not be replacing an original Avenger in any official or public capacity, though it certainly looks like the MCU is creating a terrifying dark equivalent all the same with Bullseye's new role.